I'm excited to welcome the host of Million Dollar Minutes, Michael August. Michael, we just get some amazing stories, and you continue to line up these guests that have some really interesting stories.
Yes, and today we have Teresa Riley. Teresa and I met after I was diagnosed with cancer last year.
Hmm.
So I was sharing with a mutual friend, I'm dealing with this. He goes, I can't believe you're saying that. I've got somebody you've got to meet because she knows what you're going through. She knows a lot of other people who have gone through what you're going through, but better yet, she's got some solutions that you want to hear about. So I'm not going to steal her thunder, but the solution she introduced me to led me to really, it's been a big part of why I've continued to improve since then. And I am absolutely pleased that we could have Teresa Riley today. So welcome, Teresa, to Million Dollar Minutes.
Oh my gosh, I'm super excited. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Neil. I'm super excited to be here. I can't wait to share my story with you. It's been a wild, wild ride.
All right. So we're just going to jump off with tell us a little about who you were before cancer entered your life.
Well, who I was an entrepreneur. My ex-husband and I had many, many companies that we started, built, scaled, exited. We were on a roll. We were just like the ultimate power couple. We were in the waste business, the racing business, the development business. We had restaurants. We had an indoor soccer state, just all sorts of things. And then uh, we started going through a divorce and I got diagnosed with cancer. And I went from being this like incredible, just mover and shaker to this, oh my God, here I am. I have cancer. What do I do? So that's who I was before. And I can take you through the story if you want of whatever you
Yeah,
tell me.
I got you. I'm definitely so basically before that's who you were. What did health and wellness mean to you at that time before the diagnosis? Yeah.
Well, I've always been into health and wellness. I used to be a personal trainer. I was a gymnast when I was young. I was a skier. I was always, always, always in shape. And people used to come to me always to learn about, what supplement do I take for this? What do I do for this? What do I do for that? From the time I was in high school, they were doing this. So I was always into it. So it always meant something very special to me. But I always thought that I was super healthy. So even when I got diagnosed with my crisis, I really thought that I was healthy because I didn't feel like I was sick. And that was significant.
Yeah, that is definitely significant if you don't because you feel healthy, but you got to watch out, look out for your body. I'm looking forward to hearing the signs, even though sometimes we, as a former athlete myself, I literally can go through certain pain and just let it go, keep going. And when you personal train or when I go work out, whatever pain happens, oh well. It's part of being a competitor. It's part of getting in shape, staying in shape, being your best. And we sometimes ignore those signs. So I'm very interested to hear about that.
And I 100% can relate with what Teresa was saying. I felt fine. It was just like, I think I just got bronchitis,
Right.
because a very active lifestyle as well. So you're thinking, hey, how bad could it be? So anyway.
Yep.
Exactly. So when you look back now, were there any signs or symptoms you ignored or didn't understand?
Yes. I was tired. And well, now mind you, I was going through a divorce. I had three kids. So a mother is constantly running around and she's always tired no matter what. And so I just thought, well, I'm fine. I'm just tired because I have kids. And now, what I know now is that is the first sign that you need to watch for is that you're tired or fatigued. And
Hmm.
and now and I know we're going to get into this later, but when I'm tired, I know what I do now. Like I really thought that I had everything together. And another thing too, I was working out and I was tired after my workouts, which you shouldn't be tired after your workouts. You
Mm.
should be energized after your workouts. And that was another sign, but I just thought, well, I'm just tired. I'm a mother, you know.
Wow. I mean, and it's interesting you said this tired. So if you're getting sleepy and you don't have the energy to get through the day or certain things, that's a warning sign. If you don't feel like you have the energy that you had 2 years ago, watch out.
Big one,
That's what I'm hearing from you. Okay.
big
Well,
warnings.
it's very good. So then the moment everything changed as we get to continue this conversation with Teresa, can you take us back to the moment you received your diagnosis?
I can. And it might shock you a little bit, but I went to my doctor and he did an exam on me. And a few days later, I was getting ready to go to my cousin's wedding reception in New York City, and it was going to be a big deal. It was at some private club. It was just, I forget the name of it, but it was going to be a big deal. And I was literally walking out the door to catch my plane, and my phone rang, and it was my doctor. And I contemplated not even answering it, but it was my doctor, so I answered it, and he's like, "You have to come to my office right now." And I said, "No, I'm getting on a plane." And he goes, "No, you cannot get on a plane. You have to come and see me." And I said, "No, I'm going to my cousin's wedding. I'm not going to your office." And he said, "Teresa, this is serious." And I said, "Well, tell me what it is." He said, "No, we don't talk about that on the phone." And I go, "Oh, what? I have cancer?" And he got real silent and he goes, uh, "We don't talk about this on the phone." I go, "Just spit it out because I'm not coming to see you right now." And he goes, "Yes, you do. And it's serious." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to my cousin's wedding. I'm going to have a blast there, and I'll talk to you when I'm done." And he goes, "Well, okay." He goes, "Okay, well, if you go, just make sure you have a lot of fun, dance your butt off, do whatever you got to do, because when you come home, we're putting you in surgery immediately." And I was like, "Okay." And I don't know if I was in shock or what, but I just had this viewpoint that, you know what? That's not going to define me. I am not going to let it get me down. It's not, I, I'm not letting it kill me. That's it. And so I went to my cousin's wedding, had a fabulous time, best wedding I had ever been to, except for mine. And then when I came back, he threw me into surgery. And it was a 6-hour surgery. They lost me on the operating table. They had to revive me. I came out, and immediately I noticed that there were complications with my intestine, but they said, "Oh, don't worry, it's normal." And then, of course, because they gave me a radical hysterectomy, I went right into menopause, which I was way too young to go into menopause. And so I have that. And then I'm having this thing going on with my intestine, which later on I found out that they had nicked my intestine and it exploded a couple years after that. And
Wow.
I went into the hospital, and I that was worse than the cancer. The recovery from my cancer was horrible. It took me 6 months to really be able to, I remember I couldn't even walk for quite some time. And then it took me about 6 months to recover. Then my intestine exploded, and then I'm back in the hospital. And I luckily I had a very incredible doctor there. They didn't have to operate on me and take anything out, but they did have to do some pretty crazy things to save my life, which I'm very, very thankful for. Uh, that ordeal was really, really, it was horrible. It was probably the worst thing I've ever gone through. One part of which, and I'll only tell you a little bit of this story, but in order to save my life, I had to be awake for this. They had to drill with
Oh my
a
gosh.
hand drill while I was awake through my right buttock, my butt cheek, through to the left side of my insides to get to my colon, to put a tube in there. And I had to be awake for it. And if you can imagine,
Oh my goodness.
it
This
was
is,
it was horrible. And I was in that hospital with no painkillers, no food,
oh
no
my
water
gosh.
for a month, if you can
Wow.
imagine. It was the worst experience of my life.
So, Teresa, we're getting close to wrapping up part one. But did you feel confident in the treatment path that was recommended so far? What's happened to you so far?
I don't know what it was, but I just knew I am not dying now. It is not my time. I was laying on that bed. My kids came to see me, and I was just like, I'm going to be okay. And I had all these things connected up to me, and they were like crying. And I'm like, I'm going to be okay. I just, I just knew it.
And just
Well,
give us perspective. How many years ago was this moment?
That moment was in 2016 was that
Okay.
moment. Mhm.
Okay.
well, okay. So next next podcast, we're going to find out part two, what Teresa did and how she didn't take exactly what the doctor said perfectly because of look what has just happened in this first part one. Oh my goodness. And she at least danced before that happened. That's for sure. So definitely check out by going to rainstormmediagroup.com. You're going to find information on Teresa. You're also going to find information. So if you want to reach out, we're going to be sharing with you in the next podcast. And if you need to contact Michael today, and that was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show, $1 Million Minutes, guys.